Today we're at Q and we're looking at the fix.
2 years ago, I went to Q headquarters in New Hampshire to take a deep dive into the Fix, a bolt-action rifle that claims to be lighter, faster, and smarter than anything else on the market. I talked with Kevin Brittingham, the founder of Q and the guy behind the Fix, Drew, a Q engineer, the appropriately titled princess of Fix assembly, Amy, and I even shoot this gun with legendary gun curmudgeon, Clint Smith of Thunder Ranch. Now, for full disclosure, I built my mini Fix while I was up there and I didn't pay for it. If you think that makes me full of shit, that's fine, but I didn't want to lie to you. And if I did, I probably just wouldn't have told you that and you would have never found out. But let us find out together. Is the Fix actually worth the $3,000 price tag? Or is it a boutique bolt gun for people who hate money and love Instagram? First up, Kevin Brittingham himself, founder of Q, the guy behind the Fix and one of the most polarizing men in the entire gun industry.
Talk to me about the Fix. Why?
It needed to be done. I think the bolt action is something that traditionally isn't very sexy in firearms like the AR-15. Mm-hmm. Everybody, it's basically this circle jerk, if we can say that on your channel, about...
You don't watch enough TFB TV, my friend.
Watching, guys making the best Remington 700 can be made.
Right.
And it's like, well, why do we want a big, heavy stock? Why do we want a steel action? Why would you not want to swap the barrel? What about a folding stock? What about AR-15 controls and ergonomics? Like traditional bolt guns, the ergonomics suck. How can we improve these things and use modern technology and manufacturing methods, materials, to create a gun rather than continuing to rehash a gun that's basically 130 years old, probably. But there were vast improvements that we could implement easily if we did a new design to the commercial market to replace the 700. So a 700 for the next generation of people. I think they had squeezed the juice out of that. In my opinion, at the time, 10, 12 million of those things, it was time for something new.
And to that point, a lot of people would say, like, why would you fuck with a bolt action in the 2000s? What would you say to that?
I think there's all sorts of smart-ass retorts. It's
a bevy.
Bevy. As of 2010, Remington had sold 12 million 700s. So I would think it's a very efficient design. And one way, in 2016 when we started Q, it looked like Hillary was going to get elected president.
Right.
And so she's already talking about assault weapons ban. Well, I'd never manufactured a product we could sell in California, which is the largest gun market.
Yeah, sure.
And I would say I love selling guns into California because they don't want guns there.
Right.
So it's something that we could sell that probably wasn't subject to legislation for a long time. And it was a niche in the market that I think we identified back around 2010, myself and engineering, that where we could make a vast improvement over what was out there. I don't want to produce a product that I wouldn't buy or use.
Right.
And so maybe sometimes that's like, I think it's cool, but I don't know that it matters if I think it's cool. This is an improvement in a lot of measures over anything that had been done before.
How much does a Remington 700 cost?
I don't know.
How much does a Fix cost?
$3,300.
Ooh, that's a lot. So what am I getting? This is your segue to walk me through the Fix.
Okay, you get a gun that's under 6 pounds with a 16-inch barrel. You can switch the barrel in 2 minutes on this tabletop without a vise or being in armor, from 6.5 to 308 to 8.6 to 260 to 6mm Creedmoor. You get a detachable SR-25 mag. You get AR-15 controls. You get a 45-degree bolt throw, so it's half the bolt throw, so probably 4 times faster. You get a fully adjustable stock that folds and doesn't wiggle. You get Q-Cert, which is the best mounting option for accessories ever designed. You get a tapered muzzle. So we're concerned about drop safe too, because we want a lightweight trigger that's very crisp. So how do we accomplish that? Well, 2-stage trigger, that gives you a margin for safety and drop. But also the trigger is perfectly balanced. Like if you take the trigger out of here and put it on the trigger pin and spin it, it stops in just a random location. It's not biased by this long lever. So it's not stopping just with the trigger pointing to the bottom. And that's accomplished by, we have a mass on top of the trigger that perfectly balances the trigger. So that also aids in us being able to have a lightweight trigger that's drop safe. That's an improvement over it. Using all AR controls. So with this gun, you have a barrel nut, so you drive the barrel in when you stick the barrel and barrel extension in the receiver. And so there's always slop, you know, a tolerance so that the barrel extension can go into the receiver. There's always a little bit of wobble. So what we did is we use a pinch screw and the receiver is split so it takes up all of that tolerance. Mm-hmm. So it is you can shoot our gun without the barrel nut. Mm-hmm. It's more difficult, it's more expensive, it's more complicated to do, but it's the right way to do it. You know, like with an AR, you just have a barrel nut and you have to torque it into place in a vise so that you have the proper amount of torque. Well, we don't have to do that because we're using the pinch screw to take up all of the tolerance around the barrel extension. And that's what enables us to swap, you know, at the range, on your tailgate, on a shooting bench, you can swap the barrel, swap calibers. So, I mean, I think if you take a Remington 700 and you upgrade it to half the things you get on this gun, you've got a $5,000 gun. If you buy a custom 700, what are they, $6,000 to $10,000? Mm-hmm. So to me, the fix is the best value in any gun store. Like, I know what it took to develop the gun, resource-wise, meaning, you know, money and people. And there's a reason, you know, I mean, SIG tried to do it, and they half-assed it. Mm-hmm. And the Cross is probably a better gun in a lot of ways than a lot of guns out there, but it's, you know, going the extra 5 yards, having that grit and willingness to do it is what separates this and a lot of our products from whether it's SIG or Daniel Defense or any other, you know, mediocre gun company. Traditionally, it's been a 16-inch 308 and it's been a 16-inch 6.5. Mm-hmm. We have barrel options available that you can buy separately and change, and that was just sort of mainstream or you know, production and focus just on not having 100 different SKUs. We do offer some, I think, SBRs and pistols now, and then our new cartridge 8.6 Blackout. Those are sort of entering the market, and they'll be available in short SBRs, pistols, and 16-inch.
Mm-hmm. What's your best seller of the fix?
Over the years, 308 and 6.5 sort of traded places. The last couple of years, 6.5 has been the best seller. The mini fix and 300 Blackout has been the best seller, and currently the 8.6 is the hot ticket and the best seller.
Sure. I'm tired of talking about this shit. Let's shoot some gosh darn guns. Is that okay?
After we got acquainted, I was forced to try out Q's 2-shot challenge. 2 hits on a steel gong at 300 yards with 300 Blackout. The trick is you have to send the second shot before the first one hits the gong, and both of them have to hit. Did I do it?
I hate whichever one of you assholes came up with this game. Because I'm obsessed with it.
It's not a gimme.
300 with 300.
Ah!
Come on, you gotta get it. Oh, TFB TV, yep. More like Miss Everything TV.
Right there. It's all right. We got hot mic from everybody. Everybody always forgets they're wearing it. All right, here we go.
There it is. Got it.
Oh, yeah.
Boom! Q. This is my new favorite rifle.
I think Kevin dares gun reviewers and influencers to try this out because it proves his point. Without the fix's 45-degree bolt throw, the clean trigger, and a rifle that's accurate enough to put 300 black on a gong 3 football fields away, this challenge is next to impossible. After shooting the challenge with the fix and 300 Blackout, I decided that I had to get one myself, and since I was already at the factory, I figured why not build it myself.
Now I'm here with Amy, the princess of assembly. That's her official title here at Q. We have my fix right here, and we're going to fix my fix because it's in a bunch of pieces right now. So, Amy, how many fixes do you think you have put together?
Hundreds.
Hundreds?
More.
Hundreds?
Maybe
thousands,
thousands.
possibly? Really? Do you really think so? Yeah, we'll go with it.
2.5 years, yeah, maybe. Start with the trigger. Next is the magazine catch.
Okay.
And then the bolt stop, the safety, and the grip.
All right, and then this is just a regular AR-15 grip.
Yes. So now we're gonna put on the barrel.
I think that's this part.
Barrel nut.
Let's bust a nut on this thing. There we go. Got a laugh out of that.
Cherry bomb.
Oh, wait.
Oh, you got it.
I did something.
You're so close. Are you sweating yet?
This is very provocative video. My wife can't watch this video.
Don't make me sweat anymore, guys.
You're sweating? Are you really sweating?
I've been sweating.
Are you
since
nervous?
Since
Are you nervous about being on camera?
Yes.
Yeah, don't worry. It's just a bunch of incels that watch my channel. We're all gonna look back at this someday and laugh and laugh and laugh. This really is not that bad. I mean,
No.
we're basically near done here. Let's see it. Let's see it. Show us the hinge. Wonderful. I'm not saying it in a funny way. I don't hear it in a funny way, but everybody picks on me for it.
Again.
See, everybody says it that
But do you think I'm saying it weird when I say it like that?
Yeah, but that isn't how I
That's
sound.
how you say it. Let's try this again.
You rotten bitch.
There you go.
That sounds a little bit better. Dude, this is dope. How much does this thing weigh? Where's the scale? Let's go find it. 4.6 pounds. That was wonderful. Thank you. That took, what guys, 4 minutes? 4.5 minutes? That's amazing.
4.6.
Amy,
minutes.
thank you so much for being on the program. I hope that wasn't too terrible. You did a lovely job. Look at this masterwork.
Now with my rifle assembled, I wanted to understand what makes the fix actually work, why it feels different, what makes it different, what's happening under the hood, so I sat down with Drew, one of Q's engineers, to talk about the fix's feats, especially that 45-degree bolt throw and how durable this unique action and trigger really are.
Now I'm with the senior Pretengineer. Pretengineer, that's the title at Q. Drew, tell me, what is the fix?
It is an amazing rifle. It's, the ideal hunter's package. It's lightweight, it's accurate, foldable stock, like it's everything you want. It's so compact, you almost don't even feel it on you.
Mm-hmm.
And, when you're out in the bush or out in Africa, like we've been, those pounds add up and they really matter. So there's nothing like it. Hits in between both markets. You got those, those cheap bolt action shooters. Most of them are the Remington 700 platform, which has been around forever. So it's time for an upgrade. And then you don't have to go all the way to a $20,000 custom rifle, which still, again, is usually Remington 700 platform or something similar. Yeah.
What configuration do you like, the fix or the mini fix?
When you need the best of both worlds, I'd say the 6.5, 16-inch fix is lights out, especially at range. But again, it all depends on what you're doing. If you're shooting within 200 yards, then and you're okay with the recoil being a little more, then I would go with the 308, just because it performs better, I would say, within 300 yards, 300 meters. So, but when you want the versatility, and you want to be able to push out the distance, 6.5 all the way. And then, having that 45-degree throw. I mean,
How do you achieve that
lightning
with a
fast.
45-degree throw? I mean,
That's
that's such an unusual
wonderful question. So it's a very unique system. The way we're able to achieve it is with this piece right here. This is really like the beating heart of the fix. It's the cam. So unlike camming off of the receiver, like the Remington 700 or a lot of other things, we needed to accomplish getting the same energy delivery, striker energy, in half the distance, without adding a whole bunch of weight to the bolt lift. There's a lot of time and development that went into the striker system in this. And, this is multiple iterations early on, but this is inevitably what it ended up being. So you have your contact points on the ramps, rollers there to reduce friction. So we took out all the friction possible to get that bolt weight as light as possible.
This seems like it's complicated and therefore less reliable or less durable rather than other systems out there. Is my assumption false?
Yes. Material selection, coating, all of that went into deciding the reliability and longevity of this. And we had multiple iterations going through the sear and striker system, and then we actually have a machine. I don't know if you saw at the other building, Clickety Clack.
Yep, the clickety clack.
So we wanted to test, I guess, trigger creep, I would call it, over time, trigger let off, the change in trigger as these surfaces wear together. All of that wear we take out before it gets to the customer. So we use that.
So cool.
We use that system, to cycle each one 200 times, and that gets out, and he burrs, polishes the surfaces, and brings the trigger pull down to where it lives, and then when I did testing, I gave up at 120,000 cycles.
Oh my God. I thought you were going to say like 50.
No.
So 120 and this system, this intricate little system is still working as it should.
Yep.
That's insane.
120, then it goes to, all our safety precautions, drop test, everything, and it didn't change. And then we gave up. We're like, all right, this is now becoming a waste of time to continue this test.
Yeah, sure. Drew, is the Fix the best bolt-action rifle made right now?
I don't know a better one. I don't know another one I would take on a hunt that I would trust over this thing.
Now here's where the rubber meets the road. I handed the Fix over to Clint Smith of Thunder Ranch. Clint's been around since the 1911, was considered the gun of the future. Marine, lawman, instructor, and professional gun grouch. I wanted to see what someone like him thought about a high-tech, pricey bolt-action rifle like this.
You made me shoot some of this old bolt-action shit earlier today, so now I'm going to make you shoot the most modern bolt-action that's in existence
And this
right
is
now.
like, again, this starts to evolve the same thing. We as humans, of course, build stuff. And one thing I know we're really good at is
Here's your mag.
Is that it?
Yep.
Building stuff that kills people, from bombs to guns. So that's cool. I should put some Air Pro on for.
You don't have to.
Okay, TV
You
screen.
got the TV screen button. Turn it on right there.
Okay, do you hold it or something?
Oh man, don't tell me the battery died. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Clint couldn't be more giddy than he is right now because our EOTech just died out of batteries. There's no iron sights on here. So he's just loving it.
I had a $4,000 rifle that didn't work. The bolt I'm a little slow on for most people, but if I get the bolt run, you're gonna get hit.
Yep, there it is.
Now to clarify a point while we're still on video, I never said I didn't like the 300 Blackout. I said I don't own one. Very small, very compact. That's the thing they've done with the package. Suppressed, awesome. Okay. My only anxiety is if I walked outside and there was a barn 100 yards away, I want to make damn sure that I shot the gun at different ranges because there's such an arc. I mean, even you admit that.
No,
Okay,
absolutely, absolutely,
but,
especially with those subsonics.
Awesome, and people build a nice rifle. It's awesome, very quiet, very functional.
You like the trigger?
I like the trigger. The safety, I get used to it, okay, because there's so many of them out there. But I'm just an old guy, man. I just remember the other stuff, okay. So I like the ability to readjust the stock, both stock length and height. Because that's always an issue. The first thing I would do if it belonged to me is I would put a set of iron sights on it, because when the TV screen takes a shit and it ruins, okay, then very trick, nice short throw, can's cool. Who's got can?
This is rugged. This is brand new. It's titanium.
Okay.
So
No way.
yeah. It's like weighs 6 ounces or
Just
some
a
shit
toilet
like that.
paper tube, empty, weighs more than this thing.
But on a bolt action 300 Blackout, especially subsonic, which is low pressure,
Right.
you're not going to be able to break this if you want to. So I think this was a good match.
It's a very good blending for this rifle
Yeah,
because this is a
keeps
very
light.
special purpose rifle. For me, like, this would be a good backpack gun if I was still going to be like on the roof sniper. It would be intriguing for me on this to put like a 1 to 5 or a 1 to 6. In other words, let's run the glass up, figure out what the dope is, dial it up, and throw a bathtub at them. Big bullets. And I think there's a pretty broad spectrum now in.
Yeah. I mean, it goes like 110 grain or maybe even lighter, all the way up to like 210, 220, maybe even 230.
Right. The magazine releases in the proper place. Okay, the magazine, of course, is acceptable. And you tell me, do you have to get a special mag, or can I use an AR mag and just put 300 Blackout in it?
Yeah, you can just put 300 Blackout in. They make 300 Blackout mags, and I know that there's some kind of internal demand, but I've never had an issue, not once.
Everybody's making something to market them.
Sure.
Definitely a transition from the archaic, the Conestoga wagon, and now we kind of went to the space shuttle going to Mars mode.
We've talked to everyone else, so what do I think of this gun? There are only 2 bolt-action rifles I own, this and a 300 Black Ruger American, because it's cheap and I like it. The Fix is an elegantly made gun. You hear a lot of people gripe about the price, but when you handle it, when you shoot it, when you really look at how it's built, it does reflect the price. The materials, the tolerances, the design, it all feels like something deliberately and precisely made, not mass-produced. As to the trigger, I hate to say it because it's Kevin and it's going to go straight to his big bald head, but it might actually be literally the best trigger ever, which is funny because that's what they call the trigger in their semi-auto guns, which is very similar. But this 2-stage is top tier. I've seen the testing at Q myself. I get why they say that. It's light, it's consistent, it's clean. You saw Amy weigh this gun in Q's scale, 4.6 pounds flat, so it's super lightweight. The 45-degree bolt throw is phenomenal, fast, short, and smooth, and the handle feels great in the hand. Now, I did have an issue a couple of times where I didn't fully close the bolt, but I could pull the trigger and get a light strike. And I've heard others have this issue too, but I fixed the fix by riding my thumb on top of the bolt handle whenever I run it. It's totally comfortable. It solves the problem completely, and I don't see any downside to this because it makes me run the bolt faster too. Not only is bolt travel short, but it's exceptionally smooth. Maybe not quite up there with the old up tits on glass feel of high-end custom PRS match rifles, but easily OUT-OG tier. The stock looks great. Q's design team knows how to make a rifle look sexy. It's adjustable, it's functional. Folding it is a bit of a bitch until you get the hang of it, and it even still kind of sucks, but that's the trade-off for how rigid and compact it is when locked with no big buttons or apparatus for closing the hinge. The fix is, of course, fun as hell to shoot. Suppressed performance, phenomenal. I've tried it with a few cans, most notably the Alaskan 360 Ti, which is a connoisseur's pairing. Since you're shooting 300 blackout out of a bolt gun, you're not going to run up the pressure or the volume to damage a titanium can like you might with a semi-auto. So if you're running the fix with an Inconel silencer, you're putting mayonnaise on french fries or ketchup on eggs, just completely ruining an otherwise delightful experience with disgusting condiment selections. And while we're at it, 300 blackout bolt guns are perhaps the ultimate suppressor host. No action noise, no gas coming back at you, everything going through the can. At the end of the day, this rifle is the 90-10 principle in action. Most companies will build to 90% at most and stop. The fix is what happens when you throw time, money, and engineering to get the last 10%, the part nobody else finishes because it's the hardest, it's the most expensive, but it's also the part that separates you from the pack. As a counterexample, I love my Ruger American. It's great, but it's not very elegant. It doesn't have good mounting options. It doesn't have a tapered muzzle or even that great of a trigger. Running the action feels like rubbing 200 grit sandpaper on my bald chest. Oh yeah, and it had to go back to the factory immediately. It's not in the same league as the fix, but it's still a wonderful rifle for $400. The fix is everything else you would want in a practical / tactical bolt action, but it's definitely going to cost you. Now, people love to dog on Q for being expensive and Kevin Brittingham for being an asshole, and I just have to take the opportunity to say that he is 100% a huge asshole. I definitely have to agree there, but he's also one of the few people in this fake and gross industry who's passionate, deeply knowledgeable, and most importantly, a genuine person, so I respect the man for it. You don't have to like Kevin, you don't even have to like Q, but if you dismiss this rifle just because the guy or the company behind it pisses you off, then you're missing the point. The fix is a top-tier bolt action, and it absolutely delivers. Thank you guys so much for watching TFB TV. Like, subscribe, all that stuff, but we're just glad you're watching. Take care of yourselves out there.